Okay, so I hope you can hear. Having trouble with sound. Um, I've got microphone like right here, so let me know if you're having trouble hearing me. Um, I was gonna do a live tonight, and then I wasn't. Um, because of all the news going on today. And then I changed my mind and decided to go ahead. I am currently um, currently on the. I'm like I'm like I'm this close to being irritable and angry and frustrated. Things just don't feel right. So if I'm fidgety a lot or anything, that's what that is. And and so I I so first before I talk about what I want to really focus on, which is not assuming that how your moods are going now that it's going to be that way forever, that bipolar evolves as you age, but that's going to be my main focus. I'm just going to let y'all, I don't really talk like that. Just when I'm trying to put a voice on. The other day was thoroughly a horrible day. And I think I already talked about this, asking if it seemed like PTSD, but I'm gonna talk about the day, not those events in particular. I don't want to sit like that. But anyway, it started out with um, um, insomnia that night. I didn't fall asleep until 5 a.m. And therefore, I slept. When I did fall asleep, I had a full night's sleep. So I got up at 1 p.m. And that kind of just blows my day anytime that happens. And then my mom at first was upset with me because I gotta get rid of that thing. Because I slept so late. And I woke up in a really depressed mood because I'd had bad dreams about where I used to work and how horrible it was there at the end. And so I wake up with that already coloring my existence. And then to have someone complain because I slept late just made me feel like a loser person because I can't help that. And later she was like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that I hadn't fallen asleep until 5. And I don't like waking up late either. It blows the whole day. So it was already bad. And then she needed to go to the dentist, but her car, we couldn't get it out of some ice. Or no, I take that back. I had to go out and I was shoveling the ice off of my car wheels. And while I'm like completely empty-headed because I'm just shoveling. But I was actually grateful for the physical activity. I felt like I needed it, and so it actually felt good physically, until all of a sudden, just, like, out of the blue, I started rehashing long, June end of June stuff that happened to me, and I, like, started crying like it was the day after it happened, and, um, and it's not my imagination, these people are complete trash, uh, people. I mean, they really, really, I just talk about backstabbing and whatever. So I had all those emotions again, and I'm like trying to shovel the snow and ice, and I couldn't get out, and it was really getting me down. Um, and then I had to go to, and I keep checking my account for my stimulus check because I need it. And my mom got hers. She's she is retired, so she has social security, and but I have disability, and if I remember correctly, I got mine later after she did. She's gotten hers. I keep checking mine and there's nothing there, and I'm getting upset about that. I went to the dentist, and now this is spilled over that into today. Um, I went to the dentist, and I didn't realize this. Well, anyway, I had a cavity that needed to be filled, and I go to the dentist, and I'm already paying for dental work I've already had done, trying to get to a point so I can have two front teeth crowned because I grind my teeth and I thought it was just at night. And so he's filling in this thing, and he's like, I'm like, I wear it every night, but I can see where there's wear on my teeth. Is, well, then you must be unconsciously doing something during the day. So now he says I have to wear my night guard all the time, and I keep it. I keep losing it. It's very expensive. It cost the whole process cost $2,000, and um, it's just it's like wearing a retainer, kind of. Um, anyway, they gave me the whatever they give now. I know they don't use Novocaine, but they gave me whatever they use, and didn't. It didn't occur to me. I knew that they put epinephrine in it, but it didn't occur to me to think. And they gave the shot to me, and this well, it's not new, but it's newly diagnosed tremor condition. I have the epinephrine in the shot made me shake like crazy. My hands were just like, it was just out of this world. My jaw, they're working on it. My jaw is shaking. And then when I went to walk to my car, my legs were shaking. and and I got on the the Facebook page about, dedicated to this diagnosis, and I found out that that is something that happens, and that from now on, I'm supposed to request the numbing medicine that does not have epinephrine in it. So daily I'll be doing tasks and just give up because my hands aren't cooperating. And all I can think about is I have met my biological father and his two sisters who have it. It is hereditary. It's a dominant gene, and he can't write. And he has so much trouble with his hands and his voice. It's hard to hear him. and so does his sisters, but they also have the head tremor that makes their head shake. And so I'm like terrified that I'm going to have it to the degree that they have it, even though I'm told you can't judge it that way. But I do have a neurology appointment in February. Um, so, so, it's kind of weird because, um, during this period, I definitely was depressed. Um, um, not the heavy, slow, I can't think depressed, but the more ruminating and crying kind of self-berating depressed, and all life sucks, and that super negative. And at the same time, I was able to recognize a couple things that made me feel. I had a brief um, respite from the negativity, and it really was being generated from within myself. I don't think it. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm having a lot coming down on me right now. Uh, but usually, if I act really put down, like real negative talk to myself, it's an internal issue. And rather than me being depressed because of something that's happening on the outside, see, because sometimes if I'm not depressed, I can cope. I can plan. I can decide what I want more. Um, but when I'm depressed, I can't do any of that, and I just sort of wallow. So it was really weird these past 48 hours where I had, like, it's like I can't tell where I'm going to be at from 1 hour to the next. Every day I wake up is a different day with bipolar disorder at my age, at 50. Every morning, I have no idea where I'm going to be mood wise, anxiety wise. Um, so that's where I'm at. I did want to mention the little things that sort of peeked through were, as some of you know, I make wands and broomsticks and stuff. Um, and I was very disappointed in this recent set of wands because they had little pimples on them, little bumps. And I did discover that, my mom told me don't use those foam brushes, they leave bubbles. So I redid them. I put a coat on with a rag and it fixed them, and they feel really nice and shiny and smooth. And so I was very pleased with that, with those. Um, so that gave me a little bit of, I don't know if I'd call it happiness, but it was a glimpse of maybe not everything is bad. And then the other thing, and I really think I'm going to take this on more. Oh, and something else that is part of my tremor disorder is my tongue. It's starting to not cooperate, and I'm having trouble talking sometimes. Um, you can't see it, but in when I talk, it's like bouncing all over my mouth. Anyway, um, the other thing that I got a glimpse of was, every once in a while when you don't have a lot of money, you have to treat yourself to something every once in a while. It's if you have kids, everything's got to go to the kids, but it's just me. Um, and I did buy a um, I bought a The Walking Dead pillowcase. Okay, and what I liked about it was it had each character. It has each character along, like they're walking in a line or something, and and I never thought I would like that show, and now I'm in love with it. I'm reading the comic series, which is different than the show, and I'm really enjoying it. I did read comics before, though, in my teens and early 20s. Female heroines like Catwoman and were my favorite. Um, and so I was looking at this and I realized how different each character is from the other, and that I could look at this pillowcase and really take something from each of these characters, warm hearted, tough, whatever you're feeling, you need that day. You can wake up, look at the pillow, and say, yeah. My favorite character, a lot of people, is Carol. Um, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Carol starts out in the series as she's married to this guy who is abusive and she's kind of subservient. And her character evolves and she becomes this like independent, tough, innovative, just I love her character and I take a lot from that when I'm like, if I'm feeling weak or downtrodden or the odds are against me, I can just like bring Carol to mind and stand up straighter, and know that I could shove a tire thing through somebody's head and any second shoot someone. I mean, if need be. So, and she just leaves off by herself and takes care of herself and very resourceful and becomes a completely different person. And so I would like to embody Carol. I would like to carry her with me through my days. um, so anyway, I am going to say one thing about the crazy thing that's happening on the news today with the people storming the Capitol. Um, that was insane and irresponsible and horrible and all kinds of things that I was just completely shocked. I mean, I really was just mesmerized, and that somebody was shot and died because of this for nothing, because that's what it's gonna amount to. That's just sad and scary and makes me feel another notch a little unsafe in this world. Um, Not that I'll be storming any buildings. But it really was a horrible thing that happened. And I have nothing against protesting. I went to the Women's March in Washington, D.C., and I'm very happy that I did. It was a little frustrating getting there and being there with all those people, but you felt like it meant something. And I'm guessing that the people at the Capitol felt the same way, that they were there for a reason together. But when you carry it over to, and I'm not even against slightly aggressive protesting. I mean, as long as nobody gets hurt. But this was scary, and I saw the full thing where the woman climbs on top of the guy to get in the room, and I'm like, these people are terrified in this room, hunkered down. They don't know what you're about, and you decide to climb through the window, and it was a dangerous thing to do. And she paid for it, which was really, I'm kind of stunned right now still. I detest Trump in the strongest way, but I would never, ever, ever want someone to get hurt over that. I mean, I'm more of a let's use our words kind of person. So, than physical, which kind of is the opposite of how I describe Carol. So, that's weird. I don't think I'm done. I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to say something that I get twisted up. But anyway, I feel horrible that somebody lost their life over something like a protest. Whatever they were there for. So my mom seems to have forgotten that her sewing closet is also my streaming room, and I'm very cramped. Oh, and somehow during my depression, I was also, and this is an example of things I do when my brain feels cluttered, which is often either it's the same in depression, it's the same thing over and over. In mania, it's just racing, different thoughts going through. So to slow myself down and put things in priority, I'm going to use this example. The stimulus money. I have a big list. You can't see it. It's so, and it's on the back too. And so I made a list, and I put down from 1 to 5 which things would make me feel better. A scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the high. So, and that could be paying something off or taking care of a bill that would lighten your load, or it could be something you've been wanting for a long time. And so I gave them numbers and knew that 4s and 5s were going to be what I focus on. And before I put it on paper and put it numbers, and I do this a lot, it was just like buzzing in my head, and I couldn't figure out what was most important to take care of with this extra money. Obviously, my teeth. I don't have dental insurance. I have a special credit card that you can use. but I just hope you don't grind your teeth because it's a lifetime of just awfulness. Um, so my main, let's see, what am I at? 25. Okay. I wanted to talk about mainly how I know that there were times, sort of in the beginning of my bipolar disorder, that things were so bad. I was suicidal because I thought this was going to be my life for from here on out. And during that time, I was working towards a proper diagnosis. Obviously, like everybody, was misdiagnosed first. And then the process of finding out what kind of meds you can tolerate, what's going to work for you, it can take years. And so I I had at that time in the beginning very long highs and very long lows. And those and it would be a mania first, like hypomania, and then go into mania. As I go into mania, things start to get a little weird, delusional. Things start having connections and special meanings and special messages, and I'm special because I can understand these things and other people can't. They're so beneath me. I'm going higher and higher and higher. And then I hit this point where I feel like I just wake up and feel like complete shit. And my mind is just going and going and going. And the thoughts are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I am not sleeping. It doesn't stop. And I cannot describe to anyone how bad it feels. And then I wake up my one morning and I can't move. I can't think. I stare at the wall. There's nothing there. I need assistance because I can't take care of myself. Um, I mean, someone has to kind of, back then, someone had almost pretty much shoved me in the shower to get a shower because I would hide in the closet because it felt safe. I mean, it was messed up. And I thought this is gonna be me in my life. And this was in my 20s. Let's see, 20s to early 30s. And I thought this is what is in store for me for possibly 50, 60 more years. And when you get in a really bad spot and you're thinking that way, you might think, I don't want to live a life like this for here on out. I can't do it. There's no way. Um, and I had a lot of those days. Yeah, it's a when it's a long time, it is it's more than difficult. It's like nothing's ever gonna change. I'm always gonna be this way. Um, and sometimes I lived like that for I just let it happen because I didn't have any energy to um help myself. And then I did have sparks occasionally of trying to fight it. Like the insight made its way in my head and said, this is the disease, and I cannot predict how long things are going to go this way. So that's hard to convince yourself that when you wake up day after day in the same miserable mood. Now, when you're manic and hypomanic, you might be aware that you are, but it's you're having a good time unless you're mixed. And I would have loved, that sweet spot that I don't know if you get this, but it's between mania and mixed, sorta, where almost to me, it just feels like my brain is floating on air and I'm just sort of cruising and and everything is magical and I'm just smiling all the time. If I could live like that, I would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm on board. Um, because I was like, I thought I was the smartest person in the world and I was having fun. But I always had every time I paid the piper in the end. Um, then I moved on to once I got the right medication. Oh, and I will say that the time that I was depressed for a full year, without one day a break, I was so desperate that I agreed to ECT. And I think I had 6 treatments and you've probably heard me say on my videos the long-term effects for me were the short-term effects for me. Um, I I had 2 weeks of mild improvement and then I was right back where I was. And it and I just had to wait for the dial to turn. Um, and it did. And when I got on finally medication that worked for me, well, I kind of went to um, where I would have normal periods between a couple weeks of hypomania, slight mania, with possibly 3 weeks to a month of depression. And I would have that about 3 to 4 times a year. By the way, what medicine changed was I was not able to take lithium in its regular form. I couldn't tolerate the side effects. And so I Lithobid lithium continuous release came out and they tried me on that. And that made a huge difference. Um, and I still take that. Um, trying to get comfortable. Okay. Um, and and then when Seroquel came out, that was also an improvement, especially for the psychosis type symptoms. And so from there, like I said, I would have 3 to 4 times a year a short mania, a little bit longer depression, and and I had that. I sustained that pattern for many years. And then I put in the added stress of getting a job. And that's about when I started having mixed episodes more predominantly than manic. I had very few moods where I felt high on life, and I miss those, but something, I guess maybe the strain, the stress, age. I had also what helped improve way back when, before I got the mixed. I have to throw this in here. I forgot. Um, I had a hysterectomy. I had endometriosis, and I could tell you that it was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. I could now tell the difference between my menstrual cycle moods and my bipolar moods. So after that, I didn't have to deal with the PMS, and I had bad PMS. And you throw PMS in with a mixed episode, any of those episodes, it's just different. And I think that's one particular thing is we have to pay attention to the fact that men and women are different. We have different, my hands, sorry. We have different hormones and how our body works. And so the same things that a woman is going through, I mean, there's going to be some similarities with men, but because we also have that menstrual cycle thing and menopause thing, which I was put on estrogen right when after I had the surgery. So I had like 2 days of discomfort. So, and some women who have go through menopause, they have real, I mean, serious mental issues. They can have like almost psychosis, I guess. I I had a friend whose mother who had a religion where she wouldn't go to the doctor, and she was going through menopause, and she was psychotic, and they couldn't fix it. So, um and then of course there are our social norms, how men are expected to deal with the same ups and downs as women. I mean, you see a woman crying, and you see a man crying, not just crying, like all out sobbing. You feel differently. You see them differently. It's like how we're the as I mean, that starts as children. And so you also have to keep that in mind. Um, and then, like, if you're in a mixed episode and you're a woman and you become violent, people see that one way compared to men who become violent. Um, a woman is seen, oh my God, she's out of control. Um, which, if it's me, I'm throwing stuff against the wall, I'm smashing it, breaking it, yelling at people. That's mixed episode. Um, but you have a man doing the same things, and he becomes violent and abusive and horrible things, and instead of having an illness. So um, you have to keep those things in mind. Anyway, so I had the hysterectomy, and it was just lovely. And anyway, okay, so then I went to, I would say, in my 40s, um, we'll say 45 is when things when I barely ever had hypomanic or manic episodes. I went straight to mixed. I was paranoid. Um, but in the end situation, I had a reason to be paranoid because they were after me. But that's one of my symptoms when I am mixed. I get paranoid. Is uh, I get angry. I just angry over little things, um, and then I would have depressions where I couldn't function very well. I would have to put off, even at work, certain things I was supposed to get done. I'm like, I'm in a depression. My brain's in a fog. I can't figure it out. I'm just gonna have to see how things are tomorrow. Um, so anyway, that was not fun, and I was very upset about the. I was like, I feel miserable in a mix because I'm paranoid and screaming and irritable and angry. My clothes don't fit. My body feels funny, and nobody understands me. And my life is never going to amount to anything. And so I am just letting out this rage. And then I'm flat in depression and can't move. I'm like, this is not fun. um, this is just all the mixed episode. And I mean, you should at least get the flip side of the coin. and so um, I stopped working this last year in June. It was very traumatic. And and you wouldn't believe, something is now weird going on with me where I don't have any clue how I'm going to feel every morning. Every morning is different. Um, I'm 50 now. Um, I am not working. I do have disability. My situation otherwise hasn't changed. I think it's the stress of when I was working, and my body is still in my mind. I think my mind so much now is trying to settle from the stress of so many years of working when I probably should not have been, for my own, because stress and adrenaline and all of those hormones affect our brain too. So I'm sure it was just, you know, messing up my bipolar disorder. So now I am in a state where I can be hypomanic for a day, and then the next day I'm crying, and then the next day I'm okay. And then the next day, I can't move, I can't think to do anything. I have no motivation, no innovation, no creativity, and I have no words. And so every day I have no idea what it's going to be like. And I'm not, and I noticed that when I stopped working, because I also have anxiety, and apparently you can, I think that those entire years I was in a completely tensed state, and I'm gonna, like, this, like my whole body in tension, and that it took a few months for my body to relax. And I think that my brain is still trying to figure it out. I struggle with the situation when I left. I dream about it, bad dreams, very negative, and I wake up very sad and upset. I see the people in public, they make me feel unsafe and uncomfortable, and I don't drive by the place, I drive around, I go out of my way so I don't have to see it. I don't look on their website, nothing. Um, it was very traumatic, so I think that my brain is still trying to, um, figure figure out um, where I am at. And I'll tell you what, this is embarrassing, but I'm gonna tell you, because I'm just like that. All the time I worked, I had a really difficult time with constipation. 3 months after I stopped working, I have no problem. Everything's fine. And you have an internal sphincter that when you are stressed and under a lot of tension, it can just be like this and not be letting you do your thing. So, also, the dentist told me that I must, if I'm not grinding my teeth during the day, I'm probably clenching my jaw, and like some of the teeth are worn down at a slope just from the teeth being pressed together. Um, so my message about that is, um, don't do what I did. I I put a lot of pressure on myself to, even though I have this disorder, I'm going to be like everybody else. I'm going to be a productive member of society and I'm going to live like I don't have this disorder. Besides the fact that I take the medication and do other things to take care of myself. But it turned out that on my time off, and some of my days are very long, on my time off, I was only recuperating enough to go back to work in a place that was very difficult to work at. Excuse me. And then I would go home and just it I put that on myself. Well, I mean, I was trying to please my family, I thought I originally, when I went to nursing school, I was the first one in college. I was supposed to be a nurse and have this life, and I was engaged, and trust me, all that fell apart later because of bipolar disorder. But um, I was just determined to be someone that had this disorder and had it bad, but you're not going to stop me. I'm going to be who my family are expecting me to be. And that can only be harmful to you physically and mentally. And I am not saying if you can't, if you can work. But if you are sacrificing your mental well being to please others or live up to expectations that are not your expectations, um, just that's not the best way to go. In my opinion, in my experience, I would be mentally a more healthy person if I had um I'm not saying to be lazy, be active, be involved, but on the days that you can't do, you can say, I'm not well, I need to not come today or do this today or that. Do not put off, and nowadays it's harder to get on disability. Um, in fact, it's almost impossible from what I'm hearing. I was lucky. I got it before they really cracked down and I had fortunate person helping me. But if working is making you sicker, then you need to look into a situation where you can still be productive when you're able to be productive, but your main course is taking care of your disorder so that you do have those times where you can do more. Um, I just, I am right now, I think just experiencing the results of me trying to put more on me, or not really more, but different. I can still be a person, an important person, without having your 9 to 5, working. And it's been the end of June. It took me a month to mentally just regroup. And I live with my mom. I do need her. I do need somebody. Um, my because I have my memories crap, and um, I just need another person to check in, to be watching me in case I'm off. Um, I would not be able to cope with bills, rent, um, taxes, um, getting things done when my mood's not allowing me to do them. I have temptations at times to not get up and get dressed and take a shower, but I know my mom's going to be knocking me in my bed going, hey, get up. Without that person, um, then I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. And I mean, I have chores, I have hobbies, we do things together. My biggest thing is, she's older now. She's almost 70. So I feel like she's taking care of me. So I need to take care of her too. So it's important for me to be here to carry in the heavy stuff and, um, help with things around the house. And I'm important that way. I make things and sell things, not enough to make a living, but I'm not sitting and watching TV. Um, so, but if I need to like step back, nothing's gonna fall apart. I can do that, and sometimes I do worry about this. I'm gonna make this a whole different topic in a different video, but I worry about what my life is gonna be like when I don't have anyone to watch me, if you know what I mean. Um, and especially with now that I've found out I have this neurological disorder, and I am I, there's a big chance I'm not going to be able to write in so many years. And I do worry about that, and I'm going to make that a whole different topic. Um, but so I guess summarizing, different things happen to us in life that can affect how we experience our bipolar disorder. If you're in a pattern, and even if it's been years, don't assume that it's going to be that way forever, because, like I said, I have phased through several different patterns. This one's a little frustrating, but they all were. I guess I'm happy that when I'm depressed, it's only usually for about 4 days, but sometimes, some days, it's a very deep, dark depression that I haven't experienced in a while. I'm fortunate that I haven't gone through menopause, but they told me that in my mid 50s, I should stop taking the estrogen, and I'm afraid of that. um, and and I'm sure that my disorder is going to start. It's going to change as I age, and it's going to. My other conditions may like intertwine with what my yeah like can I just can't imagine. I might have to look this up. Oh, and another topic I'm doing research right now because I don't have much experience, and that is cannabis and bipolar disorder and anxiety disorders. So if anybody wants to share a little story, a little bit about that, if you have experience, I would appreciate it. Um, so, and there was, I was, oh, and then the other topic, which, um, like older people, what's it like to have bipolar disorder in your 70s, 80s? How do the other issues affect? I mean, I just can't imagine going through that. Say if you have Alzheimer's and bipolar disorder, I need to do a little research. Um, I would like to thank, I think it was, see, I should have looked. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. Uh, Sorry. um, Rolling Stones 55 for buying me a coffee. Thank you. Um, so I'm going to end here because I just thought of new material for new episodes. So I hope you got something out of this. Um, I didn't announce on Twitter that I was doing a live. I mean, there's like 4 people here, but I would like to do that regularly. And I will have that in the description. So if you want to know if I am or not, and I'll try to do that regularly. Before, the day of that, I'm gonna do a live. So it is like really late for me. So I'm going to say good night now. I hope you all have a good night's rest or a good day, depending on where you're at. Good night.